The day before our grand opening, my wife dropped a bombshell. Her parents and her newly divorced sister were moving into our luxury home. When I protested, she snapped, "Your thoughts don't count, it's done." So I crafted a plan. The next morning, when she arrived with her family, they were stunned by what awaited them. Chapter 1. The breaking point. The keys to our new mansion felt like a treasure in my hand, gleaming metal with a custom keyring etched with our sanctuary asterisk. I had toiled for this moment for over 10 years. Every extra hour at work, every missed getaway, every sacrifice had built this home. A vision made real. I had envisioned the opening as an intimate celebration. Just me, my wife, our daughter, a glass of champagne, and a fresh chapter. But that evening, as I stood in the kitchen, brimming with pride, her icy words shattered my joy. "My parents and sister are moving in," she declared, arms crossed, as if discussing the forecast. I froze. "What? You heard me," she shot back. "It's settled, their family, they need us." "This is our home, not a refuge," I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. "They raised me," she countered. "My sister's divorce wasn't her fault. She needs calm. You should be thankful they'll bring warmth to this place." I was speechless. My voice, my stake in our home, dismissed as if I were just a bank account on legs. That night, I stood alone in the empty master suite, gazing at the warm lighting I'd painstakingly chosen. My wife was in the guest room, gleefully texting her family about their move. Her laughter, light and victorious, echoed through the house. She turned my dream into a mockery. But what she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that the deed bore only my name, and that's when I began to scheme. Chapter 2. The shock she never expected. Asterisk. The next morning, I was up before the sun. While she slept soundly in the guest room, likely imagining decor plans for her entire clan, I sat in my study, reviewing a document I hadn't touched since the purchase was finalized. The deed, my name alone. I'd bought the house before our marriage and never added her to the title, despite her occasional complaints and my vague promises to handle it later. I never did. That day, I made discreet arrangements. I called my friend Marcus, a real estate lawyer, and asked, "How quickly can I sell a house with no co-owner?" He laughed. "If the paperwork's clean, give me 2 days." Perfect. That afternoon, I returned home wearing a calm mask. My wife was in the living room, video chatting with her sister. "You'll adore the upstairs room. It faces the garden, and Mom wants the front suite, naturally." She barely glanced at me. I nodded, offered a polite smile, and said, "I'll get everything set." The next morning, moving day, dawned bright and warm. A large van rolled into the driveway. Her father barked commands, her mother clutched decorative cushions, and her sister hauled 3 bulging suitcases onto the porch. They didn't bother knocking, they strode in like they owned the place. That was their first misstep. I greeted them with a warm smile. "Welcome, I've got a surprise for everyone before we unpack." My wife frowned. "What surprise?" I pulled a folded paper from my pocket and handed it to her. "What's this?" she asked. "Read it." She unfolded it and went pale. It was a sale contract. The house had been sold that morning. The buyer would arrive in 20 minutes to tour their new property. "What? Is this a prank?" she stammered, her voice climbing. "No prank," I said, my tone even. "This was never your house. You said my opinion didn't matter. You made your choice." "So I made mine." Her parents stood frozen, her sister's mouth hung open. "Where will we go?" her mother finally asked. I shrugged. "I'm sure your daughter has it all planned. She said it was final, didn't she?" With that, I grabbed my duffel bag, walked to my car, and drove off, just as the realtor's car pulled into the driveway. Chapter 3. Done means done. Asterisk. By midday, my phone was flooded. Missed calls, voicemails, texts. "Wife, where are you? Wife, you sold our house. Are you crazy? Wife. Call me now or I swear. Wife, sister, you're heartless. My bags are on the curb. Wife's mom, you'll pay for this, you selfish jerk." I didn't reply. Instead, I sat in my rented apartment across town, small, quiet mine. I sipped coffee and glanced at the tiny bonsai on my windowsill. Peace felt right. That evening, a final text from my wife. "I don't get it. Why would you do this? We're family." I responded for the first time. "You set the rules. You said I didn't matter. I just stopped playing a game I wasn't part of." She didn't answer. Meanwhile, at the now-sold mansion, the new owners, a retired couple, were horrified to find a group loitering on their porch with boxes and bags. The realtor asked my wife and her family to leave. When they refused, the police were called. A neighbor later told me her father yelled about property theft before being calmly escorted away. My wife tried to tell the officer it was a misunderstanding. But legal papers don't bend. Her name wasn't on any of them. She'd gambled with arrogance and lost, spectacularly. The next day, I sent an anonymous tip to my wife's HR department, including audio of her joking about using company resources for personal calls and planning family trips. I knew their ethics officer. Her job had strict policies. She'd broken them. By week's end, she was suspended pending review. Chapter 4. The fall asterisk 3 days after losing the house and her job, my wife appeared outside my apartment. Rain soaked her, guilt clinging like damp fabric. Shivering, mascara streaking her face like spilled ink, she said, "I just want to talk." I didn't open the door. Instead, I cracked the window and said, "Final means final, right?" "That's what you told me." She looked stunned, her jaw quivering. "I didn't mean everything. You ambushed me." I leaned on the frame, steady. "You thought I'd stay, that I'd fold. But I was already packed before your announcement." She wiped her face with her sleeve. "We can fix this." I shook my head. "You don't even see what broke." Then I closed the window. The next week, the HR investigation found she'd violated several ethics policies, falsifying travel logs, sharing sensitive data, misusing funds. She wasn't just fired, she was blacklisted from her field. Her sister. Her name appeared on a local gossip site with audio of her badmouthing clients. No one knew how it leaked, but she lost her biggest contract the next day. Their parents called for a family meeting to resolve things. I declined. Then came the final twist. I donated a portion of the house sale proceeds to a charity my wife always claimed to support but never did, in her name. It made headlines, right next to the story of her firing for misconduct. I'd reshaped her legacy. Chapter 5. The last strike. A week later, a handwritten letter arrived, pages long, from her father. "You've made your point," it began. "But she's still your daughter's mother. Do you want to destroy her completely?" There it was, the plea for mercy. They didn't know I'd already stopped. I hadn't attacked her personally, I'd only exposed the truth. She'd done the rest herself, but her next move pushed me to finish it. 2 days later, my lawyer emailed me. "You won't believe this." Attached was a custody filing. She wanted full custody of our daughter, claiming I was unstable and vengeful. That was her fatal error. She had no job, no home, no credibility after the scandal. I had evidence, her affairs, her lies, her manipulations. In court, I presented a detailed timeline, screenshots, recordings, even a statement from her boss about her using our daughter as leverage during her firing. The courtroom grew quiet when I played her, shouting, "He's nothing without me. I'll take the kid, the house, and ruin his name." The judge wasn't swayed. "Full custody to the father," he ruled. "Supervised visitation pending evaluation." She collapsed, sobbing. I left the courthouse, called a car, and went home to my daughter, who was with my sister. That night, we ate pizza, played board games, and watched her favorite movie. For the first time in years, the house was calm. No secrets, no yelling, no schemes, just us. The only family that never betrayed me. Epilogue. The man they underestimated. 6 months later, I stood in my backyard, coffee in hand, watching my daughter chase our dog across the grass. Her laughter filled the air, untouched by the poison that once tainted our home. We were rebuilding. I'd earned a promotion, bought a new car, taken a few solo trips to clear my head. I wasn't dating, not yet. My focus was on restoring my daughter's sense of security and my own peace. Then an envelope arrived, no return address. Inside was a photo of my ex-wife, sitting alone on a park bench, eyes sunken, frailer than I remembered. On the back, one sentence. I lost it all. No signature, no plea, just admission, or maybe remorse. I didn't respond. Instead, I walked to my daughter's room, hugged her tightly, and whispered, "You'll always know who stood by you." They once called me insignificant. A nobody, a placeholder. But I became the man who persevered, the father who stayed, the one who turned betrayal into justice. I didn't need applause, just the quiet of peace and my daughter's laughter ringing through a home that finally felt complete. Was this justice well served? Share your thoughts below. What would you have done? Like this story, share it with someone who needs its fire, and follow Lauren's Tales for more gripping stories of betrayal and retribution. Because here, every deception meets its reckoning and every betrayal casts a shadow. Stay sharp, stay bold, and stay tuned.